Everyone started to look in shock and horror. Peter and the others, disgusted takers, began to empty and wrap the heads of their group members into blankets before taking them away. "This isn't one of ours," Brandon said, taking the last head from the pile. He held Rot's head as he growled at him. "He's got no eyes," Brandon said, shocked. "Oh, come on, man, why?" he said. "Their crazy leader probably did that for some twisted sense of fun. Just get rid of him before someone else sees him, okay?" Peter says. "Okay." Brandon was looking at the empty bag covered in blood. When Peter leaves, Brandon begins to look in the bag and touches something. It looked like a plastic bag with some paper inside of it. Brandon looked around and then takes it from the bag. An hour later, Xavier addresses his soldiers. "We're going to finish them off! We're sending everyone we have!" he says to the crowd. It's murmur nervously. He says, "Do not be afraid! We have enough people!" he stated. Peter interrupted. "Even with Alexa and her people, they still outnumber us 2-1, he warns. "That is true, but that won't matter. We still have guns and ammo," he states. "Not nearly enough," Peter stated. "Enough! How many more of us have to die before you realize that there is only one way this ends? With the deaths of every last one of those devils. You want to leave? Go ahead. No one is stopping you. At least I won't. But you won't last long out there. I have kept you all alive since the very beginning of the apocalypse. I saved your life when they almost killed you. So just shut your mouth and do what I say," Xavier commanded. As he finishes and everyone begins to disperse, Brandon looked at Peter. "He's losing it," Brandon states. "Bastard leaves us for bait and he has the nerve to call me out. He'll get every single one of us killed," Peter says, angry. "Maybe he doesn't have to," Brandon stated. "What do you mean?" Peter asked. "We can leave. All of us. Get Sarah, Alexa, all the elderly, kids, and head to my old university," Brandon whispers to him. "Xavier and the others will never let us go," he stated. "That's why we don't tell him. Like you said, he's gonna get us all killed. So we have nothing to lose, do we?" Brandon asks. Elsewhere, John watches the back fence of the community and proceeds to stab every few or so walkers that manage to go headfirst into the fence. Behind him approaches Ayumi. John is slightly startled. "Oh, Ayumi! Sorry, I didn't know it was you. Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while," he stated. "Yeah, I'm sorry about that, John. I honestly have been taking a break from everything," she confesses. "Why?" John asks. "I don't think I would be a lot of help with everything going on." "I would only get in the way," she replies back. "That's nonsense. You've done a lot for us. That makes you one of us, even if you don't feel like it," he tells her. "But I have this fear. I've always struggled with it, ever since I killed one person in my entire life, and it was an accident." John listens to her. "When I was in the town with Abby and some of the other soldiers, I didn't know who you people were. But when I saw Rachel come out of that bar, I couldn't just let her die," she stated. John smiles. "You have done a lot for us, Ayumi. You are not a coward. You saved my son and Rachel," he says, before she interrupts. "I should have gone with him, but..." John then interrupts her. "We need people here to defend this place. Losing another soldier in this place could destroy us. We have kids here, families. Yeah, speaking of which, I should go back." Before she leaves, he stops her. "Ayumi, listen, maybe you couldn't be a part of everything, but you are a family here. We care about you," he said. Ayumi appreciates that. "Thanks, John." Ayumi goes to the walls and looks at Jeff by the gate. "Hey, Jeff, I'm here to relieve you," she states. He doesn't respond. "Jeff?" she calls out again. "Jeff!" "Huh? What?" "I'm here to relieve you." "You can go home," she says. "Home? Yeah. Thanks, Ayumi, he says, leaving saddened, as she watches him leave. As Jeff leaves, he takes his keys and goes inside his house. Jeff enters the dark house, all alone. We see him take a shower, then drink some water. After that, Jeff goes and lays down in his bed. He gets up and opens a drawer from the side drawer. He reaches his hand out and pulls out a journal. He puts it on his lap and opens it up. Inside, he saw pictures of his family. Him and Karen were at the zoo with all 3 of their children. He took the photo of his kids in front of an encaged tiger. May looked the most frightened. He then looked at it sad. He throws the journal against the wall, crying his eyes out. He quickly ran into the shower, turning it on, and began to cry out, screaming, "Why? Why couldn't it have been me? Why my children?" He shouted, crying uncontrollably. Meanwhile, we see a group of ragers in the woods, leading a group of tied walkers who were on ropes. Careful, as they dragged them in the woods, they slowly come across some other ragers, who were tying walkers to some trees. The ragers noticed their friends coming with more of the dead. "Good, we needed more of the dead," one of them said. "May I ask why we're gathering them?" a woman asked. "Didn't they tell you?" the male one asked. "All I know is that the king asked us to do this, said it would help us win this war. Our king is certainly less predictable than our former one. We have not suffered a single death in these 2 weeks." As they listened, they helped secure the walkers with the others to the trees. One of the ragers, "Do we know you?" they asked. "We were some of the ones left behind from that town 2 weeks ago." "You were lost all this time?" they asked. "Yes, we were taken captive, but we were able to escape. But not all of us, though. Despite our former king's idiocy in ruling, he was a true warrior. That was an attack I'll remember for the rest of my life. Killing those weaklings? I never felt a great joy in my life." Suddenly, one of the Vikings pulled out a gun and fired his gun, hitting the man in the head, blowing his brains out. The girl Viking fired her gun and shot 2 more Vikings dead. As she lowers her gun, she shouts, "What was that, Victor?" Carla asked. "I couldn't take it anymore. This is stupid. These clothes smell terrible, and we've been at this for over a day, and we haven't found Jace or Benjamin," he said, angry. "I know you're angry, Victor. I am too. But we're the only ones who have a chance at finding Benjamin and your brother. Come on, let's go get Merle," she stated. While walking, Merle walked to them, barking, as Rachel petted him. "Sorry, boy. No luck." Carla walked up to Rachel. "Did you catch that our former king?" that guy said. "Yeah, I noticed that too," she stated. "And the fact that we haven't been attacked by them in 2 whole weeks. I just know there's a piece to this puzzle, but we can't find it," she said. Victor takes some clothes and allows Merle to smell them. "It's no use, Vic. We've tried that many times, but Merle can't pick up their scent," she stated. "It makes no sense. He should have gotten something. We even tried all the places we've been that night. Either he's far away or, well, he's dead," Victor said. "He's not dead. We'll find him," Carla affirmed. At the Ragers' camp, the Vikings were setting up traps, and while Benjamin was taking a bottle and mixing something. "So this is really going to block our scent?" Raven asked him. "Do you doubt me?" Benjamin asked. "No, of course not, my king. I didn't know if making a dog repellent was possible." "May I ask how you learned how to make this?" "I learned this from my past, when I used to be in school. I made a chemical that was made of ammonia, vinegar, and acidic fluids," Benjamin stated. "We have to be careful, as the smell could affect us, but it's far more harmful for them. Without their dogs, they won't know where we are, and then it'll be over for them," Benjamin stated. "Also, Raven, I need a report if our fallback zone is ready yet." 1 day later, Rachel, Carla, and Victor got up from their emergency blankets and started to pack up their things and get ready. Merle barked and walked up to Carla. She smiled and took a small item from her bag. She unwrapped a string of beef jerky and tossed it to the dog before rubbing his snout. "Are you guys ready?" Carla asked. She could clearly see that Rachel and Victor looked unsure. "I'm sure we'll find something today. Our luck has got to finally change," she stated. "And if it doesn't," Rachel asked, "then we head back home and try again." Hours later, we see Carla ahead as she follows after Merle, who goes from tree to tree trying to pick up any scent he can find. Suddenly, they see a walker come from the forest, but Victor takes his knife out. But as he prepares to face the walker, when he waits patiently for it, Victor shoots his knife out, but completely misses the walker as it lands in his shoulder. Carla and Rachel screamed as the walker bit down into his jacket, but Carla grabbed him, pulling him off of him as Rachel pulled out her knife and forcibly stabbed into the head. Victor fell down, grabbing his shoulder, shaking in fear. "No, no, no, Victor!" Rachel said in disbelief. Victor was terrified as he slowly removed his hand from his shoulder. "We need to see it," Carla said. Victor removed his hand, revealing his skin. "It didn't bite you?" Carla said in shock. "Oh, thank God," she said, hugging him. Another hour later, Rachel tries to talk to Victor while they're resting up. "So, Victor, can I talk to you?" she asked. "What's on your mind?" he asked back. "Well, when I went to check on you in your room, I found something in the room. It was this," she said, pulling it out. "You took my flask?" he said, grabbing it. "Yes, of course. I was worried about..." "Victor, talk to me. What's going on?" she asked. He says in annoyance, "It's not a big deal, okay? I just had it in my room. It doesn't mean I'm an alcoholic, okay?" he says, tense. "I never said that, but my older brother, Damien, he was an alcoholic and..." But she's interrupted. "And you don't want that to happen to me. Look, Rachel, I know you're trying to look after me in your own way, but looking through my stuff isn't the way to do it. I don't need this, not after everything," he said coldly, as Carla noticed them from behind. "Victor, I'm trying to help you. I know what it's like when you lose family. It hurts a lot, but..." "No, you have no idea. You had a horrible family. Mine loved me," he stated. "Are you serious? You think I don't know what it's like to lose? I loved my brothers and my mother, but you think just because my family used to hurt me that I didn't love them? I loved them all my life. I worked like hell to keep my family together the best way I could, but it was never gonna work. I couldn't see it until it was too late, that they were poisoning me. But it hurt all the same. How dare you say that?" Rachel said, hurt. Victor was stunned. What had he just done? "Rachel, I'm sorry," he said. I didn't think..." "Of course. No one ever does," she says, walking past him. Carla whispered to Rachel, "Hey, screw him. He doesn't know anything. Just don't let him get to you. Please," she says. "I know. Let's just keep moving," Rachel says, as Victor walked up trying to catch up to Rachel. Carla punched him in the shoulder while holding on to Merle. "Nice one. If I were you, I'd give her some space. Then I'd get on my knees and apologize and beg for forgiveness," she advised him. In the camp, we see Alexa, Nathan, and the others looking over their supplies as Brandon talks to them. "So, Xavier forced you to join us. Your friend was bitten, and he just so happened to have a first aid kit," he asked. "That's right," she stated. "Well, I'm Brandon," he said, shaking their hands. "I'm Alexa. This is Jose, Nathan, Trey, and Dan," she stated. "You guys look alright. Where are you from?" he asked them. Alexa started first. "Well, I used to be a failing artist. I was about to lose everything when literally everything happened." "Hola, I'm Jose. I used to work at a hydro dam in West Virginia," he stated. I'm Trey. I used to be a plumber from before. That explains the pipe wrench, Brandon stated. That's right. These things are built to last for years. They're good for fixing pipes and smashing heads. I'm Daniel Foster, but you can call me Dan. It's really nice to meet you, Brandon, even if your leader and most of the people here leave much to be desired, he stated. Thank you. We always do. So, what were you before the apocalypse? He asked. I was a lawyer. Really? Brandon asked. Yep. I was taking my first case when the fall happened. Would have died if it wasn't for Alexa helping me get out of there. I would be dead if it wasn't for her, he stated. That is absolutely true, Alexa stated. You know, this is the part where people usually lie and say, oh no, you would have totally survived without me, Dan said in defense. What, you want me to lie, lawyer boy? Nope, that's your thing, she said, making Brandon let out a laugh. Suddenly, the dogs began to growl. They're here! Brandon shouted. Everyone was in an instant panic. Xavier ordered everyone to get ready. Get everything ready! Meanwhile, Benjamin and the Ragers started to pour the chemicals on themselves. Get ready, he said, wearing binoculars and putting on their scent blockers. They said they wouldn't have attacked for 2 more days, Peter stated. Brandon moved to Sarah. Get the children and head for the cars, go! He ordered, confusing her. Sarah, do what I says, Peter tells her. You really think they'll get inside the camp? He asked. I have a feeling, Brandon stated back. Xavier shouted for them to release the dogs. They released the dogs, and as the dogs ran, we see Benjamin and the other Ragers hiding as the dogs try to smell for them. The dogs run in the opposite direction as Xavier and the others look on in shock. What are they doing? He shouted. Benjamin then cuts one of the ropes tied to a tree. The tree began to fall down and started to come towards them fast. Move! Move! Peter shouted as the tall tree crashed onto them. After the tree crashed down, Peter and Xavier looked to see one of their own was crushed and buried under the tree. Benjamin pulled out his weapons. The Ragers shouted as they charged and attacked the takers. Benjamin ran into the camp. It was mostly deserted. He heads into the infirmary. In the infirmary, Alexa and Dr. Kent saw several Ragers coming for them. She took her gun. As Benjamin was heading to the infirmary, 5 Ragers followed behind him when 2 of them were shot dead. Take cover! He shouted. Let's rush her! They shouted. Inside the trailer, Alexa was rushed by 3 Ragers and fired her gun, killing one of them. They tackled her to the ground. One of them kicked down Dr. Kent. Please, just take whatever you want! Oh, we'll do that by taking your lives, they stated. Outside the trailer, 2 gunshots were fired as Benjamin leaves with a gun in his hand. He then quickly ducks down as a few men come charging at him, but he fired his gun, shooting them both dead. The gun clicks, completely out of ammo. He placed his fingers in his mouth and whistled loudly as every Rager stopped. That's the signal, they stated. They began to run as the takers, Peter and Xavier, chased after them and fired some of their guns, hitting a Rager next to Benjamin. He moved to cover and continued to dodge the shots. Brandon stopped Peter. Wait, Peter, this is it, right? He asked. We don't have to follow them. This is our chance, Brandon stated. Peter contemplated. Everyone stop! We're leaving, he said. Someone was unsure. But Xavier said, before Peter stopped him, Xavier is leading us away from the camp, leaving it completely undefended, he shouted. I don't know about you, but I'm done with his orders. I'm going to go find our people. Brandon, where's this place again? He asked. In the woods. Xavier chased with his men and kept firing at the Ragers, wasting all their ammo. Suddenly, they run out of ammo as several ragers come from the bushes behind them. Time to die! Benjamin chopped off the ropes holding several walkers as they ran towards Xavier and his men. Walkers! They shouted. Have fun, Raven stated, firing his bow and arrow at them. Xavier pistol-whipped one of the walkers as a soldier was hit in the head with a bow and arrow. Xavier was surrounded. As they fought, Xavier and them continued chasing after Benjamin and Raven in the woods. Xavier screams out for them. Where are you? You cowards! He said. He heard something behind him and moved away as a knife was thrown, hitting him in the shoulder. Next one goes for your head! Benjamin shouted as Xavier ducked using a walker. The knife pierced the walker's head as Benjamin cursed. He then realized he had no more throwing knives left, cursing again. Carla, Rachel, and Victor appeared and saw all the chaos unfolding. There were ragers and takers and walkers all tearing each other apart. They weren't sure which side they should help or fight back against. Carla reloaded her gun and fired at the oncoming horde. Rachel also fired her gun, but ran out of ammo. The walkers were coming up on her, but Victor pulled her away in the distance. Benjamin looked to see the three of them. He recognized them immediately and froze. Raven looked and snapped him out of it. Benjamin was shocked to see them. They didn't recognize him, and in a way, neither did he. Benjamin pulled out his gun, fired multiple shots into the dead and takers. The walkers were now looking at him instead of them. Benjamin ordered a full retreat. Rachel, Victor, and Carla watched as the walkers were leaving and chasing after the remaining ragers. Rachel stopped for a moment. It couldn't be, could it? Suddenly, Carla hit the walker in front of her. Rachel, come on, we have to go! She yelled. Rachel listened and followed on. As Xavier's men were devoured, he ran with a few others to the edge of the cliff. As Benjamin aimed his gun, suddenly a walker grabbed him from behind. He fired it, hitting Xavier as Xavier collapsed and dropped headfirst into the strong river. Benjamin turns around and with one hand grabbed the walker by jamming his fingers inside his eyes and slamming him hard against a tree. The walker's head exploded in a massive gusher of dark red blood as its brains poured out of numerous openings. Benjamin looked in the river and realized he lost sight of him. My king, we must leave! Raven shouted. Benjamin looked back. He cursed, leaving with his group. At Nest, John looks as Carla, Victor, and Rachel come back through the gates without having found them. They were disappointed as Sean looked on in sadness. Still nothing, he said dead. Sean cries as Rachel wraps her arms around him. As everyone looked on, Ayumi shouted from the gate. Everyone! There's someone here! She shouted. They all stopped and looked at her direction as Ayumi aimed her gun. Not another step! She shouted. What's going on? Who's on the front gate? John shouted. I don't know, Ayumi told him. What's your name? She demanded as John raised his gun to an unknown woman. The woman raised up her hands as several men looked nervously behind her around their car. My name is Alexa, she told them. At Nest, elsewhere, Xavier crawls exhausted in the woods. Talia! Kids! He shouted. I'm back! Dad's here! Honey! Xavier walks back to the campsite. He is horrified when he sees walkers around the area. He began to run and grabbed one walker. It was an old one, not someone he knew, as it growled at him. Xavier pushed it against it and slammed the walker down and stomped on its head angrily. He was shocked to see no one was there. He killed a walker in frustration and shouted, "Where did you all go?" He shouted. He looked around, not seeing anyone. "Talia! Eddie! Dina! Where are you?" He shouted. Back at the Ragers' camp, there is a full moon. We see all the Vikings gathered in mass, celebrating, shouting with bonfires and drinks in their hands. Their leader stands in front of them all, taking a drink. Benjamin gave a sinister smile. "Everyone has earned this celebration," he shouted, making them all shout. "Today, we celebrate our victory! You chose me as your leader, and we not only defeated our enemies, but ratted out traitors from our group. The fools that were living in the forest from us are gone! This wasn't just our forest, this is our world! Any who aren't strong are put out of their misery! We are the ones who bring extinction to the wrong, not the dead!" Making them shout even more. "I will never stop until I rid them all from this world. When I was a boy, I thought that killing someone was an unforgivable act in this world. But now, not killing in this world is what's truly unforgivable. Those who can't fight have no place in this world. This world is cruel. Are you cruel?" he shouted, as they shouted back. "You are all cruel and twisted. But have any of you ever faced your demons? Have you actually fought them? They're more relentless than the dead. They're worse than fighting the living. You know why? Because they're ourselves. We are our demons! This is why they fear us. But you all can't be a part of this world. Not anymore." Hours earlier, in the infirmary, we see the Ragers hold down Alexa as she screams, but the Rager is shot in the back of the head. The Rager looks on, shocked, seeing Benjamin holding the gun before firing at him, killing him. Benjamin then lowers his gun, grabs the gun that Alexa dropped. He takes it before going over to the medicine cabinet. Alexa and Dr. Kent look on in shock and confusion as Benjamin takes a bottle and puts it in his bag. "You two should leave this place," he says before tossing the gun to the wall, close enough for Alexa, but not close enough to use it against him. Benjamin turns around and leaves the trailer. Back in the present, suddenly, we see Ragers start to cough as blood comes from their noses. They drop their cups as Raven looks around, feeling sick. He drops to the ground. As he looks up, seeing Benjamin with a bleeding nose. Benjamin wipes the blood from his face clean. "I promised myself that I would rid this world of everything that was wrong with it, to extinguish all my enemies, by becoming extinction itself. That includes all of you." They started to drop the dying as their faces stopped moving. Benjamin looked as his group, all dying, and then walked to Raven. "You traitor! I supported you! You were the most twisted soul in this world!" Benjamin looked at him before pulling out his knife. "You are right." Benjamin then plunged his knife into his stomach, killing him. "I won't let you hurt them again." As he slowly got up, he walked to all the other bodies. Stab, 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 over, 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 and over, and over, and over, again and again. He went from head to head, body to body, person to person, 86, 92, 100, 115, 132, 146. After he finished stabbing in the last head, he looked on at his bloody machete caked in brain matter, looking at it with no emotion. He began to walk away from the camp and went to the river. He started to clean his blade, and after it was clean, grabbed a handful of his own hair before cutting it a little as little bits of his hair fell into the blood-soaked river. Benjamin looked up, and pulled out something from his pocket. It was the ring that Rachel gave him last year, the one from her own mother. He looked at it, squeezing it, before standing up and walks away as walkers slowly begin to chase after him. After walking in the forest for several minutes, Benjamin then goes into the ground and uses his hands to dig into the ground. There was a bag. He pulls it out and takes it with him as he walks away. An hour later, all alone, Benjamin hears a twig snap, pulls out his gun into the direction he heard it from. He aims his gun and sees someone. Brandon steps out of the woods with his hands raised. "Hey bro, room for a hug?" he asks nervously.